Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories, where we play tales to take you away from today. Do you believe in ghosts?
No.
How about fate? Listeners have sent in emails about these two. We also have a pre-World War II story about a nightclub singer who gets a bit more than she bargains for. Do you need more?
Yeah!
Oh, we have more. How about a moment in time and two great tunes that should set your foot to tapping? Now, where did I put that start button? That's not it.
Another 5-minute mystery.
This 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by Ron's Amazing Stories. We play stories so you don't have to. Where stories are first and everything else is not. So remember, if you have a choice, choose the RAS.
Inspector Howard, I asked to have you come up here today because I wanted to explain this case in person.
Well, I'm anxious to hear about it, sir.
On the 6:54 train from Chicago West today, there'll be a private car. In that car will be James Mayhew. He's carrying with him almost $1 million in jewels, which he wishes to take to the West Coast. He trusts no one with them.
Whew.
Now, I want you to watch the entrance to that private car like a hawk. One of our trainmen, Mr. Barnes, will join you at the train. He'll have a letter from me.
All right, sir. I'll do my best to prevent an accident.
You know, I've been a railroad man all my life, Inspector. Used to be a conductor right on one of these trains.
Yes, I know. You showed me that in the letter when you met me in Chicago. By the way, you're sure Mayhew is alone in there?
Yes, except for the steward. You know, though, I think I'll just step back there and see if everything's all right before it's time for him to go to bed.
Okay, I'll wait here for you.
Mr. Inspector!
Yeah, what's the matter?
I'm the steward for Mr. Mayhew's car, sir. An awful thing has happened.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, they sent me to the galley for something. Well, sir, when I came back, Mr. Barnes was gone, and there was Mr. Mayhew, shot, sir. Shot right through the head.
Well, come on, let's get in there fast. Where is he?
Right there, sir. Right there on the floor.
He's dead, all right. Where's Barnes?
I don't know, sir. I don't know. He was gone when I came back.
Yeah, what's that?
I don't know, sir.
Hey, quick, it's in that locker. Open it up. Barnes! What's happened? Here, wait, I'll have that gag off in a jiffy.
Boy, that steward. Hold him. Grab him quick before he gets away.
No.
He hit me over the head and then bound and gagged me. I came to when he put me in that locker there. Then I heard a shot. His Mayhew...
Yes, he's dead, Barnes. Shot through the head.
The jewels.
I haven't had time to look.
Search the steward. He has them. He'd planned to throw me off the train and make his getaway at the next stop.
Did you notice what time it was when you came to, Barnes?
Yes, I did. I got my hands free and I could see through one of the air holes. It was 9 minutes to 11.
I didn't do it, sir. I swear I didn't.
I'm sure you didn't, Stewart. In fact, just to prove it, Barnes, I'm putting you under arrest, at least until we can reach Chicago by telephone.
In just a moment, we'll see why the inspector arrested Barnes instead of the steward. But first...
Okay, I think that our detective is throwing darts and seeing where they land. Because I think he has the wrong guy here. Think about it. This guy killed the other guy, then tied himself up, smacked himself in the head, and waited to be found? Sounds like a victim to me. Let's head back and see why the detective picked our guy. Oh, and this story is brought to you by Ron's Amazing Stories. Blah, 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 blah.
And now, back to our 5-minute mystery.
Me? Under arrest?
Yes, Barnes, you made one mistake, and I'm willing to take a chance that it'll hang you. When I asked you what time it was, you said it was 9 minutes to 11. Any railroad man with the experience the real Barnes has had would naturally say 10:51. You've been impersonating Barnes, went in and shot Mayhew, and locked yourself in the locker, gagged. And just to prove it...
No,
Here. The jewels are right here in your pocket. Nice work, Barnes, but not nice enough.
Okay, now I'm outraged. His proof is the guy says 5 minutes to rather than 55 minutes after? Come on, man. That's crazy.
Ron, he had the jewels on him.
Oh, yeah. This 5-minute mystery was brought to you by Ron's Amazing Stories. We play stories, so you don't have to. Want to hear a story that you've never heard before? Unless, of course, you have? Then come to Ron's Amazing Stories. How did I miss that jewel thing?
'Cause you're an idiot?
What's that you said?
This story comes to us from Tom Williams in Berlin. Tom is originally from the U.S., but now lives in Germany. He sends in this story. I remember a choice I once had to make at the spur of the moment. It was a Saturday before noon and a beautiful day as my wife and I were preparing for a trip over to my aunt's house to take her shopping and on a few errands. I received a phone call. It was from my friend and helicopter flight instructor at OSU. He was also the flight safety officer for the Columbus Police. "Tom," he began, "I have to fly a World War II converted aircraft over to Washington, D.C. for a buyer, and I need a co-pilot. Want to fly the right seat?" This was a chance of a lifetime. However, my wife reminded me that I had promised my aunt that we would definitely be there that weekend. Sadly, I had to refuse the offer. It took a bit to get ready and then make the 1-hour trip from Columbus to Newark. As we pulled into the driveway at my aunt's house, the news came over the radio about a World War II aircraft flying from Columbus, Ohio. It had crashed on final approach, and all the crew members were killed. Needless to say, it took us a few minutes to get out of that car. This has taught me one heck of a life lesson. Always keep your promises, no matter how inconvenient they may be. This story is in memory of my good friend, Ken. Tom from Berlin. Thanks, Tom. It's another great story, and I'm glad you shared it with us. John Big Mac O'Connell, who just had his 92nd birthday, sent this story in via his great-grandson, John IV, who's only 9 years old. John Sr. writes, "My story takes place in June of 1944. I was on board the hospital ship, the U.S. John C. Clem. We had just entered the Mediterranean Sea for service and were tasked as a transport ship. We would take on injured personnel from Sicily or Naples and then take them to Oran or Algiers. It was a rough time in that area. Constant battles meant constant movement. We even came under fire from time to time." Now, the John Clem was an old ship. It had various names during her travels, and she had served in both wars. She was built in 1917 as a cruise ship, and I was a ship's engineer. We, the crew, had come to believe the ship was haunted. The crew, support troops, and patients all could tell some kind of story. Here is mine, and I do have others. We were the only hospital ship in the area that day in August, so it was up to us to take both American and German injured. We would have to come fairly close to shore to load the victims of this bloody assault. There were so many that it was all hands on deck loading them. A man, clear as day, took my hands and he pulled me to the deck. A second later, a round of machine gun fire hit the lifeboat that I had been unloading. If I had been standing there, I would have been hit and probably killed. Unfortunately, this was a common event. Stray gunfire happened a lot. I looked around to thank the man, and I found that not only was I alone, but the soldier I was helping was gone too. I don't know what happened. Others who saw the event told me it looked to them like I had just fallen down. Lucky fall and all. I kept the truth to myself, but I know I hadn't just fallen down. Wow. 2 great stories. To Big Mac, I say, thank you for sharing your story with us. More importantly, thank you for your service. And Tom, what can I say? You're the best. If you want to hear your story on Ron's Amazing Stories, stop what you're doing right now. Grab some paper, computer, or voice record to tell us all about it. We want to hear your story, and by gosh, by golly, you gotta tell it. Come to ronsamazingstories.com, click on the Contact tab, and please tell us all about it. And now for this week's OTR Tale. So this is really turning out to be a World War II episode, and our OTR story for this week will continue that trend. What we have is something pretty special. It combines my great love of storytelling and for music. Have you ever heard of Lena Horne? In her biography, she stated that on the day she was born, her father was in the midst of a card game trying to get enough money to pay the hospital costs. How about that? She came from a pretty rough background, only to become something truly wonderful. She quit school when she was 14 years old and got her first stage job at the famed Cotton Club in Harlem. She was good, and when people such as Cab Calloway and Duke Ellington took her under their wings, it resulted in her playing packed houses. Her music career would have been enough to ensure her legendary status in the industry, but her films and radio acting were the icing on the cake. If you want to know more about this remarkable woman, I highly recommend reading her biography and this week's Ron's Amazing Stories blog. Like I said, she was something special. Our story stars Lena as an American singer who arrives in pre-war Buenos Aires to perform at a nightclub, but soon finds herself embroiled in espionage, intrigue, and murder. Far and away the best scenes in this episode are the 3 times she is allowed to sing. The episode is called You Were Wonderful and comes from the classic OTR series Suspense. It first aired on November 9th, 1944.
Suspense! Tonight, You Were Wonderful, starring Lena Horne.
Suspense is presented for your enjoyment by Roma Wines. That's R-O-M-A, Roma Wines. Those excellent California wines that can add so much pleasantness to the way you live, to your happiness in entertaining guests, to your enjoyment of everyday meals. Yes, right now a glassful would be very pleasant as Roma Wines bring you
Suspense! This is the Man in Black, here for the Roma Wine Company of Fresno, California. Tonight, Roma Wines bring you as star the remarkable American singing actress, Miss Lena Horne, who has recently returned to Hollywood following a triumphal Eastern tour to resume her picture career at the studios of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, in whose Technicolor production Ziegfeld Follies she will soon be seen. Tonight she appears as a noted entertainer called Lorna Dean, who found herself embroiled with dangerous intrigue and murder in a South American capital. And so with You Were Wonderful, and with the performance of Lena Horne, we again hope to keep you in suspense.
Hola, Johnny.
Huh?
¿Qué hay de nuevo? ¿Qué hay de nuevo, Johnny?
Ah, sure.
Sombrero.
Yeah, check the sombrero. Good evening, Mr. Whittington. You wish a table? No, thanks. No, I'm just browsing. Is Ronaldo... Oh, there he is now.
Oh,
Hello, Johnny. Hello.
Hi, Ronaldo.
Well, sit down. Have a little supper with me, huh?
No, thanks. I'm not hungry.
Well, come on. Sit down anyway.
All right, anything to please you, sweetheart. Tell me, how's business?
Oh, fine. Great. Every time I get a bad break nowadays, Johnny, I get 2 good ones right after.
Say, when did you ever get a bad break?
Well, you know Jackie, my little singer.
Yeah, sure, I know.
Yeah, of course you do. Well, Jackie is quitting.
Oh, that's too bad.
And who do you suppose I'm getting? Just by the merest accident. Who do you suppose I'm getting to take her place, huh?
All right, I'll bite.
Lorna Dean.
Lorna Dean? Oh, you're kidding.
No. What do you think of that, huh? Very good, huh?
Well, if you'll excuse the aspersions, Ronaldo, I think, what does a dame with an international reputation like Lorna Dean want to be singing in a third-rate cabaret like this for?
Oh, no. Second-rate, maybe, but third-rate, no.
All right, second-rate. But you can't pay her a tenth of what she's used to getting. And what is she doing down here in Buenos Aires anyway?
Oh, now, what you want to ask a lot of questions for? She's going to sing. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I guess it is. She's terrific, all right. Tell me, when does she start?
2 weeks from tonight.
Why did Jackie quit? It's kind of sudden, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. She's nervous lately. She wants to go back to the States, I guess.
Oh.
Say, Johnny.
Yeah?
When are you going back?
To the States?
Uh-huh.
Oh, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whenever this war's over.
Don't you think you better go home maybe a little sooner, huh?
Look, I don't want any lectures on my patriotism, if that's what you mean.
Well, who's giving lectures? Down here we are, we are neutral.
Yeah? Well, all right, that's what I am. The U.S. is okay, it's fine. It just happens that it never did so much for me that I feel like getting knocked off for it, that's all.
Sure, I don't want you to get knocked off. That's what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
Your health, Johnny.
Do I take that 2 ways or only one?
One. Listen, Johnny, listen. I see these things before. Sometimes fellows stay around these places so long they forget all about home. And then one day, finish.
I pay my bills, don't I, eventually?
Oh, Johnny, don't talk that way. It's only because I like you, you know.
All right. Cut it.
Okay. Ah, here comes Jackie now.
Alma del África lejana, llena mi pecho, mi...
What's wrong?
Ay.
What's happening?
Ay, Dios. Ay.
What's the matter?
Ay.
Anyway.
Come on, Ronaldo.
Can't understand. She wasn't feeling well. Why didn't she tell me? She didn't have to go off.
Coming through, please.
Please stand back. Now, what's the matter here?
This woman has been drugged, apparently.
I am a doctor.
Oh.
See what is wrong. What's in the way?
Please let me through. Mr. Ronaldo,
What do you want? I have no time now to...
I want the job. Now.
Job? Oh, it's you, Miss Dean.
Couldn't you even wait until they looked the poor kid over before coming
Did
here?
I ask you anything? Look, Mr. Ronaldo, I'm sorry for the girl, but I'm a singer, not a sob sister. I was going to start in 2 weeks anyway. I might as well start now.
Well, all right then, until Jackie can come back to finish out.
Oh, yeah? It'll be about the longest run on record then.
What do you mean?
This young lady is right, Senor Ronaldo. This girl is dead.
Dead?
Do you still want the job, Miss Dean?
Yeah, I still want the job.
Tonight, for Suspense, Roma Wines are bringing you as star Miss Lena Horne, whom you've heard in the prologue to You Were Wonderful by Robert L. Richards. Tonight's tale of Suspense.
Roma wines made in California are of such uniformly superb quality that they are imported to many foreign countries as the choice of true connoisseurs of fine wines. Millions of Americans also enjoy the excellence of Roma wines daily, with meals and when entertaining. In fact, more Americans enjoy Roma than any other wines. They know that Roma wines are truly inexpensive for wines of such distinguished character. They know Roma wines are of unvarying superb taste and quality, the result of age-old winemaking skill combined with modern knowledge. All this for only pennies a glass. So for maximum mealtime enjoyment or when entertaining, serve Roma wines. A cool glass of appetizing Roma California sherry before dinner, a cool bottle of rich Roma California Burgundy on the table with the meal. You'll appreciate the enthusiastic comments of the family and guests. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how much added zest Roma wine brings to your table. Tomorrow, ask your dealer for ROMA, Roma Wines. If he is temporarily out of Roma, please try again soon. Remember, more Americans enjoy Roma than any other wine.
And now we return to the scene of our drama, Rinaldo's on the waterfront of Buenos Aires, where a famous American entertainer, Lorna Dean, takes the spotlight from a dead girl to begin the strangest singing engagement of her career. A situation well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Embrace me, my sweet embraceable you. Embrace me, my irreplaceable you. Just one look at you, my heart grew tipsy in me. You and you alone bring out the gypsy in me. I love all the many charms about you. Above all, I want my arms about you. Don't be a naughty baby. Come to your mama, do. My sweet embraceable you. Gee, how was it, Johnny?
You ask me that question every night. Don't I always give you the same answer?
Maybe I just like to hear it.
All right, all right. You were wonderful, okay?
Okay, we artists, you know, gotta hear that thunderous ovation.
Hello there, Johnny.
Oh, friends of yours?
Well, business acquaintances, you know them?
Well, that tall one's been giving me the glassy eye all through that monocle the last 3 nights. They're coming over. Maybe you want to talk to them.
Well, Johnny. Oh, please don't go, Miss Dean.
Oh, that's all right. I've got to argue with Ronaldo about a baby pink spot. You know, we artists. See you later, Johnny.
Okay. Sit down, Mr. Harmon. Hi, Stingle.
Good evening. Terribly attractive girl, what? My favorite singer, too. Oh, by the way, before I forget, Johnny, here's your remittance for the week.
Oh, okay, thanks.
And in that connection, old boy, I'm afraid I must tell you that we're not too satisfied with your work.
Well, maybe I'm not too satisfied with the job.
Oh, if you're not, it doesn't require such enormous intellectual powers that we couldn't find someone else to do it, you know.
Oh, keep your pants on. I didn't say I was quitting, did I?
Now, look here, old boy. All we ask you to do is report their names when they enter the harbor and their sailing time when they leave. Now, that's easy enough, isn't it?
Yeah, sure. Only to find out those things, a guy has to ask questions. And when you ask questions, people ask questions back. Don't forget that.
Oh, you have been reading too many spy stories, Johnny. After all, even if there's a war, some of us are still in business. And when you're in business, sometimes it helps to know when your competitors are shipping their goods.
Yeah, okay. Only a guy likes to know what he's working for, that's all.
About Miss Lorna Dean. I didn't know you were a particular friend of hers, Johnny.
Oh, not particular, just friends.
She took Jackie's place, huh?
Yeah. And there's a couple of questions that nobody has ever answered about that either.
I suppose there are. Too bad.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather like to have a talk with Miss Dean.
What about?
Oh, singing.
I didn't know you were such a particular lover of music.
Oh, rather. Quite go for American folk songs. Primitive, you know. Stir the blood. What?
Yeah? Well, here she comes back, and if you want my advice...
I didn't ask for your advice, old boy. Now, you just run along for 10 minutes.
What for?
I want to have a little private talk with Miss Dean. And you don't know enough about music.
Okay.
Hey, Johnny, guess what Ronaldo said? Hey, Johnny!
I'll be back when I'm wanted.
Oh, please, Miss Dean, do sit down.
Well, what was all that about?
Let him go. It's all the better for me, you know. Now I can talk to you.
Lance, perhaps you better not.
Oh, nonsense. It's quite all right. Well, Miss Dean, it's nice to see you again. I'm still wondering why America's favorite thrush is singing here.
Oh, I sort of liked the place. And I wanted to help Ronaldo out of a jam.
Jolly good. I must confess I have a weakness for the place myself.
Oh, have you?
And how do you think Buenos Aires stacks up with Rio and all the other gay capitals of South America, eh?
I like it. My tour didn't take me here, but I just couldn't leave without seeing it.
Yeah. You know, I've always been a great admirer of yours, Miss Dean. I've heard you sing, I don't know how many times.
Oh? Have you been in the States often?
Oh, no. England. Shortwave, you know. Your voice carries very well over the wireless.
Oh, you're English.
Austrian. I lived in England most of my life, though. You know, down here on business. War, you know. Oh, terrible thing, this war.
Yes.
Yes, I'm afraid it's been awfully disillusioning to a lot of people. Take your people in America, for instance. Not much for them to fight for, is there?
Well, a lot of them are fighting just the same.
I dare say. Anything better than what they have at home, eh? Strange war, though. The Japanese, now. I understand that they have certain very progressive policies towards the colored races.
Except toward the Chinese, I suppose.
Yes, well, the Chinese, backward people, you know, always have been communists and so on. Confusing just the same, isn't it? All this race business.
I suppose it is to some people.
Now they're the Nazis. Cute devils. All this talk about a master race. They don't mean a word of it, you know.
Can't we talk about something else?
Oh, yes, of course, my dear. Now let's talk about your music. You know, I'm really quite a fan of American music. A bit unbalanced on the subject, actually, I suppose.
Oh, really?
Yes. So much so that I think I might have a little financial proposition that would interest you.
Hey, you.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, go on, get out of here.
You know what you're saying. Possible reason
I don't know anything. I don't have any reason. I just can't afford to get into trouble myself. Maybe I just don't like your face. Now, go on, get out,
Now, see here,
Get
Ronaldo.
out and don't come back.
Oh, very well. Come along, Stengel. Good night, Miss Dean.
Good night.
Ronaldo, you're making rather a bad mistake, my lad.
Ah, that's what you think.
That's what I know. Good night.
Well, giving my pals the bum's rush, eh, Ronaldo?
Johnny, why do you want to hang around with guys like that?
I don't hang around with them. I just do business with them.
Sure, fine business.
What do you know about it?
I don't know anything yet, for sure. I just smell a couple of rats. Now you go home, too, Johnny. We're closing up. Go on.
Okay, Ronaldo.
Say, Johnny, you left in sort of hurry, didn't you?
Well, maybe I had orders to leave in a hurry.
I kind of thought that might be it.
Oh, I guess it didn't matter much. You seem to know the boys pretty well.
Oh, I meet a lot of people in this business.
Oh, sure. What'd they want?
How did you know they wanted something?
Because they generally do. What was it?
Oh, they just wanted to make me a sort of proposition.
What kind of a proposition?
Well, I don't know,
But what?
I think it had something to do with singing,
Uh-huh. You gonna take it?
if there's money in it.
Don't you care if money you earn has blood on it?
No. Do you? He's done something to me, and my heart won't keep still. Give me 1,000 roses, put my heart in beside them, and send them to the one I love.
Bravo, bravo. Splendid. She couldn't have done better myself.
Is that the way you like it?
Oh, yes, rather.
You ought to feel flattered, you know. This is the first time I've given an audition since I got my start in show business.
Oh, I do hope you didn't mind, but I just couldn't resist asking you to sing it through, now that we've concluded our little business arrangement.
And that's all there is to it, huh? I just sing it.
That's all there is to it.
Well, you're paying for it. I just wish it was a song I did better.
Oh, cut out the false modesty. I'll bet you were wonderful.
Oh, hello, Johnny.
Hi, Stingle.
You're up early, aren't you, old boy? Still daylight.
I haven't been to bed. I was sitting up with a sick friend.
Oh, no. No, not that old chestnut.
Only this time it's not. I was with Ronaldo. I suppose you heard.
Oh, yes. Too bad.
What's the matter with Ronaldo?
Oh, nothing now. He's dead.
Dead?
Yeah.
Sudden, wasn't it? Anyone know yet what happened?
Death by natural causes, Stingle. And his wife, you know, is scared of the police. And superstitious besides. Didn't want an autopsy. And, well, anyway, that's how it stands.
Yes, of course, poor woman. But I was in a position to do a little something for her.
Oh, were you?
Yes, I rang up her lawyer as soon as I heard. Seems she doesn't feel like trying to run the club all alone, so I bought it.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah, so you see, you're working for me now, Miss Dean. It won't make any difference, of course.
I see.
Well, I must be running along now. See you this evening.
Goodbye.
Yes.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
So you're working for him now?
We're working for him, huh, Johnny?
Is that how come the command performance you were giving when I came in?
No. I didn't know anything about anything then. He just said he wanted me to sing that as a request number once in a while. That's all.
How bad does he want you to sing it?
Bad enough.
And you don't sing it until he tells you to. Is that the deal?
How do you know so much about it?
Because I'm not dumb. Well, you gonna do it?
Why not? You'll pay my expenses.
A lot more expenses than poor old Ronaldo could pay, huh?
Well, turning it down won't bring him back to life now, will it?
You're really a cold-hearted little dame, aren't you?
Listen, Johnny. I'm an entertainer because I like it. And because it's the only way I can make enough money to live halfway like a human being. With money, I can do what I want to, more or less. I can live where I want to, go where I want to, be like other people, more or less. Do you know what even that much freedom means to somebody like me, Johnny?
All right. But you don't need money so bad you have to make it this way.
What way?
You know what I mean.
Do I? All I know is they want me to sing a song.
Yeah, but why?
I don't ask questions like that. But if you know so much about it, why don't you tell me?
Maybe I can't.
Because you're afraid of sticking your neck out, huh? But you ask me to trust you.
Oh, Lorna, don't you see?
All I see is you want me out of the picture. Well, I'm not leaving. You're working for them. So am I. You've got your reasons. So have I. You won't talk. Neither will I. Let's leave it like that, huh?
Okay. But from now on, you're on your own.
Ha, that's funny. I've always been on my own. And it isn't just the money. Maybe it's something you wouldn't understand. But I know what I'm after, and I'm going to get it.
You said it there, sister. You're going to get it.
Beside them. Who is it?
It's me.
Ah, come on in.
Hi, Lorna. You practicing?
Oh, not specially.
Oh, I thought maybe you had your orders.
What orders?
Oh, to sing that song tonight.
Yes. How did you know?
Oh, a little birdie told me. Look, I got your present.
What is it?
A little portable radio. It's a good one, too, made in the States.
You know I don't speak enough Spanish, so that thing will do me any good down here.
Aha, but don't forget the short wave.
Short waves, wireless, what?
Okay, Johnny, what's the gag?
Oh, just something I want you to hear. You probably won't be able to understand it, but fortunately, in me, you have an accomplished linguist. Anyway, I can tell you enough.
Rote Rosen, WWII, alles bereit hier? Warte Nachricht von euch heute Abend, Rote Rosen.
Well, quite a little gadget, the wireless, huh?
That wasn't Spanish.
Right, and I'll give you 3 nice big guesses what it was.
Johnny, wouldn't it be easier if you just up and told me what you came here to tell me?
Don't play innocent with me. Don't try to tell me you don't know what this is all about.
Oh, maybe I just want to know how much you know.
I know. You said I was afraid to stick my neck out. Well, all right, listen to this. That guy you just heard talking is the captain of a German submarine about 15 miles outside the harbor.
How do you know?
Because I saw it. And there's a convoy that leaves this harbor regularly to take stuff from South America to our guys in England. And they're leaving tonight. And all that sub-captain out there is waiting for to plow into that convoy and sink every ship in it is the tip-off. And the tip-off is you.
Me?
Oh, stop it, will you? What do you think Harmon wanted you to sing a particular song at a particular time for, and a song that's at least 2 years out of date at that, if it wasn't to tip off somebody? You know your stuff is broadcast. Come on, use your head.
Listen, Johnny, if you know all this, why didn't you tell me sooner?
That's my business. Maybe I wasn't sure until now.
Business. Yeah, business is just about the right word for it, isn't it?
Okay. I didn't expect any thanks for it. But they're just using you for a fall guy, that's all. Oh, listen, Lorna, listen. You've got your life ahead of you, a great career back home, popularity, everything in the world to lose. And the stuff in those ships is going to save the lives of Americans.
Coming from you, Johnny, that's real cute.
All right. All right, so I don't have a country anymore, but you do.
Johnny, listen. You remind me of a preacher I used to know back home. He figured he was such a good preacher because he knew so much about sin. He said he'd sin more than anybody else in the whole congregation.
Go ahead. Laugh. Laugh, but I'm telling you for your own good. Get out of town.
I can't, Johnny. I've got a date to sing tonight, remember? Shh. Who is it?
It's Harmon. We're about ready for you, Miss Dean.
Oh, time for me to go on, huh? Okay, I'll be right there.
Right you up.
Okay. That's it. But I hope you know what kind of a spot you're in, because if you sing that song, as far as the public in the States is concerned, you'll be washed up for good.
Who's going to say anything, Johnny?
Oh.
It's a sure thing you won't.
Well, it'll get back somehow. And you know what happens if you don't sing it.
What?
Remember what happened to Jackie?
What did happen, Johnny?
She tried a double-cross. And the same night she was dead. Now laugh that off.
I haven't forgotten. By the way, Johnny, suppose I tell you that I knew all about that submarine out there.
What?
Now, you laugh that off. You better get out there and listen with your friends. Your table's ready.
Oh, there, Johnny. Over here. There you are, old boy. Here. Here's the best table in the house.
Well, you're feeling great, aren't you? Business must be pretty good.
Good, old boy. Tonight it's perfect.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tonight, I want to sing a song. I want to sing something that's been made a special request. It's a song that's very popular in my own country, and I'm sure it is with many of you down here. My country is of the sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountain side, let freedom ring.
Well, you don't look very happy, Harmon. You surprised?
Yes, yes. Come along, Stengel. Yes? You'd better wait here, Johnny.
Yes, sure. Anything you say.
Oh, Miss Dean. Miss Dean.
Yes?
May I have a word with you?
I suppose so.
Perhaps we'd better step out into the hall.
All right. Well?
That was very naughty of you, Miss Dean.
Was it?
Yes. That wasn't the song I asked you to sing tonight.
That's right. And by the way, don't waste any time looking for that submarine of yours out there.
Submarine?
Unless you look awful deep. Because when I found out what you boys were doing, I arranged a little tip-off of my own, and what you heard me sing tonight was it.
I see. All right, Stengel. You'd better get it over with.
No! Johnny!
Come on, let's get out of here.
Well, what about...
They won't make anybody any more propositions.
Well, where are we going?
The American Embassy.
Well, are you with the government?
It had to be an undercover job. The authorities down here couldn't very well get mixed up. After all, it's a neutral country.
But how did you know I wouldn't...
cut the wires. It wouldn't have gone out over the air, even if you had. What was your angle?
I knew Jackie. She told me she was in trouble with him. She never had time to tell me what it was about. I came down to talk to her about it that night. She was... Well, and this morning, Ronaldo's wife told me that he'd found out about the submarine out there. That's why they had to kill him.
You were taking an awful chance playing a lone hand like that. Why did you do it?
Oh, just to get in my licks at the master race. Johnny?
Yeah?
How was I?
You were wonderful.
And so closes You Were Wonderful, starring Lena Horne. Tonight's study in Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by William Spear. Next Thursday, same time, Mr. Robert Cummings will be your star of Suspense.
Presented from coast to coast and by shortwave through the Armed Forces Radio Service to our troops overseas by Roma Wines. Made in California for enjoyment throughout the world. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Did you know that during the pre-war time, there were a lot of Americans that risked their lives to work underground to keep an eye on Nazi activities? The episode is very coy about referencing this, and I imagine that some might listen to this today and not even realize that this type of thing really did happen. It's true. In any case, there were various stories that came out about these people. You might even know one of them. A little ditty called Casablanca? What people don't realize was that there really were refugees stuck there, and more than a few of those were Americans. How about that? Now, let's stay in the 1940s for this news report from NBC. The date is December 8th, 1941, and this is A Moment in Time. I found this recording from the day after Pearl Harbor. It was in pretty horrible shape and still may be hard for some to hear. I cleaned it up as best I could. So why try to save this one? Well, the subject matter is great. It talks about Germany's response and how not all Americans felt that we should go to war against Japan or Germany. Listen carefully, and I think you will be amazed.
Good evening, everyone. This is John W. Vandercook speaking for Alka-Seltzer, bringing you the news of the world. The whole world now knows the Congress of the United States, with one single vote in opposition, solemnly accepted war with Japan this afternoon. And more than half the world now fights beside us. Great Britain has kept its word. Britain declared war against Japan today. 4 small nearby neighbor countries, Cuba, Haiti, Honduras, and the Dominican Republic, have just in the past few hours, from friendship, lined up too beside us. Meanwhile, Japan's tremendous naval blitzkrieg, a new device in the whole history of war. The truth cannot be blinked, as won by shock tactics the opening round. Casualties in Hawaii yesterday touched at least 3,000. Violent Japanese air attacks near Manila this morning set tremendous gasoline storage fires. And for what it is worth, Tokyo has just claimed that the American islands of Guam and Wake have been captured. And now, something tells me that a certain announcer will not have much to say tonight. But in any case, here is Charles Lyon.
Ladies and gentlemen, because the makers of Alka-Seltzer and one-a-day brand vitamin tablets want to bring you as much news as possible during their period tonight, they have requested that all commercial announcements be eliminated. So, back to the newsroom.
But only for a moment. We switch in turn to Earl Godwin in the newsroom in Washington.
And good evening, folks. Why was the American fleet raided and warships knocked out, a stronghold punctured, 3,000 Americans killed or wounded in one of our strongest points? Many people in Congress and some places else want to know. Representative Dingle of Michigan will ask why tomorrow in rather formal manner with court-martial touches. I talked to Dingell not 5 minutes ago. He said that the battle wagons had been tied up for weekends with not enough men on them or not enough steam up to get out and man them. There were not enough men to man the aircraft guns either on the ships or in the air corps, and he wants to say that he thinks that we were caught off guard, if not asleep. Why were the men not prepared to meet this raid far out at sea? He's going to ask or suggest or demand court-martial proceedings against 5 top Army and Navy commanders, including Admiral Husband E. Kimmel, Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Fleet for the naval debacle, as he calls it, at Pearl Harbor. He told me tonight that he was groping for information, and that if the Army and Navy did not comply with his suggestion, that he would introduce a formal resolution for a court-martial later in the week. Well, that's rather startling news, because up to that time, everything seemed to be going along happily. There never was any doubt in the minds of competent Washington observers that this country, this government, Congress, would declare war on Japan with the greatest possible speed and complete unanimity. The fact that Jeanette Rankin of Montana spoiled the vote with what some of her colleagues believe was simply maudlin sentimentality doesn't seem to count here in Washington. Sit down, sister, yelled a nearby congressman as Miss Rankin tried to interrupt the vote again today, as she did in the other time she voted no in the other World War. There are other serious things to consider here, and one is that American losses in this murderous raid were possibly a bit worse than our government has let us know or even found out. The Japanese seem to claim much heavier punishment than was contained in the White House statement this morning. In addition, the president seemed to me to hint that a deep dent in our Army had been effected when he told Congress in his address today these words: no matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory. The American purpose, henceforth, I take it, is to find the Japanese fleet and send it to the bottom of the Pacific. In the vast moves of this war chessboard, our experts find the Japanese raid on Hawaii might be a diversion planned to keep the United States concentrated in the Pacific or its own troubles. It would not be difficult now, if it was necessary, to declare war all around. The Navy invokes the Espionage Act of 1918 for secrecy. The Army does something similar. The Navy will hardly even give you the time. Stephen Early, the President's Secretary tonight, charges that Germany pushed Japan into this dastardly act, and he also denies that the least lend aid to our other friends will be affected. The stream of munitions will continue. And now back to John W. Vandercook in New York.
Almost lost in the great deluge of news today from the Pacific, one important statement has come today from Berlin, which should not be overlooked. Germany has officially admitted that Hitler's invading armies have given up all hope of capturing the Soviet capital of Moscow this year. However, it has already been suggested that Hitler may already be moving troops for some use elsewhere, in some war plan as yet unknown. Down in hastily forgotten Libya, the desert war has not stopped either, and the British tonight report a slight success. At least 1/3 of a Nazi tank squadron operating near Tobruk has been smashed by Imperial armored columns. In Libya, though, it is agreed there have been no great developments. Berlin's comments tonight on the Japanese-American war lacked originality. Again, snarlingly, the Nazis repeat Senator Wheeler's famous phrase about flying under American borders. And with fumbling distortion, the Nazis still saw away at the story that somehow the wanton Japanese six-island attack is the fault of President Roosevelt. Otherwise, Berlin says only that the much-just three-power Axis pact, which now calls clearly on Germany to declare war at once on us, is being discussed. The Nazi lie factory, which official Washington itself has today branded, quote, 100% inaccurate, also makes the startling statement that there was just nothing that embattled Winston Churchill and the endlessly patient Franklin Roosevelt wanted, quite so much as a war with Japan. And here is a brief dispatch from Singapore. A communique issued about 8 p.m. said that the RAF was delivering extensive aerial counterblows against Japanese transports attempting to land troops in northern Malaya. And there you have the news of the world up to this moment, brought to you by the makers of Alka-Seltzer, who have dispensed with their commercial announcements today in order to bring you as much news as is possible during their broadcast period. this is John W. Vandercook saying good night until this same hour tomorrow evening.
The Red Network of the National Broadcasting Company.
You know, I've always wondered about a few things. Did we know what mistakes we made? Was everyone for war? And what were the Germans doing at this time? This report, at least partially, answered some of these questions. You know, you gotta love the Internet Archives. This time on As Sung By, we have two great tunes performed in the 1940s by our star, Lena Horne. These songs may be old, but oh my goodness, they are good. Our first one is the classic Stormy Weather. It is a 1933 song written by Harold Arlen and Ted Koehler. Ethel Waters first sang it at the Cotton Club in Harlem in 1933, where, no doubt, Lena first heard it. Let's listen to her version of this masterpiece. The second tune is something that comes from the 1937 Rodgers and Hart musical, Babes in Arms. It has stood the test of time, so there should be no surprise that Lena Horne would sing it. Wrap your head around the lady is a tramp. Now, I hope you enjoyed this little musical excursion. For me, it was a whole lot of love. And yes, that was a Led Zeppelin reference. Another fun show in the books, and more to come. Coming up on future episodes of the RAS, Phil Leach from MUFON will be here to tell us the MUFON story and share some cases that he has personally investigated. Also, author Vicki Jones will tell us about her new book called Meet Me at 10, which is currently available for pre-order. If you want to keep up with what's happening on Ron's Amazing Stories, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or sign up for the weekly newsletter. All the links you're going to need and access to the blog can be found at ronsamazingstories.com. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.